Win call. We are so excited that you are here. For those of us joining us for the first time, why don't you put a 1 in the chat? We love to see who is coming in for the first time. Put a 1 in your chat, in the chat, say first timer. We love you. We thank you for being here. So for those of you who are on for the first time and for those of you returning, this weekend win call is set up so that you have strategies going into the weekend to help you succeed, because we believe that no person, place, or thing should throw you off your goals. Okay. And so here we have like-minded folks who are all striving to achieve the same thing, and that is optimal health in the mind, in the body, in our finances, in our families, in our communities. So we will get you off here in 30 minutes. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to get back on track. For those of you who have ever been on a journey to health, you know that it is not linear. Sometimes things happen. That means you don't just get to your goal perfectly. Things happen. So do us a favor, because we want to know that we're not alone. Put a 2 in the chat if you've ever fallen off track. Tell me if something's just happened where you're like, yo, I don't care. I'm having the fried chicken. I want the hot wings. I want the pizza. I want that margarita. Let's see if anybody, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm super honored tonight, you guys, to be with my co-host, Dawn Purnell. If you do not know her, you want to get to know her. She always drops the most amazing nuggets. So Dawn, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. So let's see, Dawn, did you see anything in the chat that I should be, reading out loud? Anybody in the same boat as me, or am I the only one that struggles here?
No, there's a lot of 2s.
Lots of 2s. All right. What about you? Have you ever had a moment where you were struggling and you kind of felt like you wanted to just throw the baby out with the bathwater, so they say?
Yeah. I think the month of June.
Oh, wow, the whole month, right? Who's had a whole month?
The month of June.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We had just helped my son. My son had just finished graduating. It started with graduation dinner, and then it just sort of slid from there. I think I just got carried away and just totally was not focused on what I was trying to do. And so it went from, 1 day to 2 days to a weekend to a week to a month. And I said, oh, hold up. I gotta rein this back in. I gained enough pounds back that I wasn't crazy out of control, but it was going to be a slippery slope. So I had to rein it back in.
I love you. Oh my gosh, guys, how many of you that's resonating with you? One meal can turn into 1 day, can turn into 1 weekend, can turn into a week, can turn into a month. For some of us, could turn into years. Okay. And that's why we're talking with you tonight, because we understand that. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Miss Monica. I've been on a journey to health for 8 years, you guys. I've lost 170 pounds. Let that sink in. I've lost 170 pounds. I've been able to keep that off going on these 8 years that I've been here. The reason why I share this with you is because I have had many, many, many instances where I fell off track. And to Dawn's point, before I knew it, it was a whole month that had gone by. And here's what I want to tell you. As I've gone through this refinement process, because it is a refinement process, you're constantly refining your skills and your mindset. I can honestly, wholeheartedly tell you, I've never gone more than a meal or a day off track, maybe a weekend, but it doesn't go further from there. And this is how I've been able to maintain. Okay, so I share this with you to just say, to give you hope. And I learned a really amazing acronym for the word hope, and I'm going to give it to you. I wish I had created a slide because you're going to want to save this. Hope is helping other people through your experiences. Hope is helping other people through your experiences. And that's what we're doing here. So to Dawn's point, as you're working towards this, it might be a month. To my point, it gets better. Okay. And it could just be a day or an hour that you fall off. But here is what this plan and what our amazing life book, what Optavia is helping you do. When you open up your life book, the first thing that it tells you is we are working to become the dominant force in our lives. If it's going to be, it's up to me. You need to remember that. If it is gonna be, it's up to me. So we bring this up because if you find yourself saying, if they only would, if she could just stop, why do they? And you find yourself in these spirals where you're angry and it's upset at others instead of yourself. There's some refinement that needs to happen. And actually not even upset, but if you're not in a growth oriented space for yourself, then you've missed the mark or there's some refinement that needs to happen. So this slide is just to remind you what an event is. So this is something that throws you off your normal routine. Okay. The first thing that we do in this program is we figure out that we need a routine. We need a water structure, a sleep structure, a movement structure, and an eating structure. And sometimes something will throw you off your water, get you out of your sleep routine. Some person will come around and gosh, you just can't deny that thing they make or that offering of a shot or whatever it is. And that event throws you off your routine. So if you're brave enough, again, put in the chat, what is something that throws you off? Have you figured out what your triggers are? I'd love to see those. Again, we're not alone. And I'm going to put a pin in my spots right here, and I'm going to bring it back to Dawn because I want to talk about what happens when you go off. What do you do? She already explained to us an instance where this happened, but Dawn, you're still here. And when I see you, girl, your arms are banging, your body is amazing, you look great in your dress, and you're just fire in your post, like positivity radiating. So you've obviously come back. How do you do that?
Well, number one, I went off, but I didn't go totally off, which is, I think, the beauty of our program. Like, I still had fuelings throughout the day. I still did some of the things. I just wasn't as diligent as I could or should have been. So the recovery or transition back was not super complicated. And I think that is a testament to our program, and that makes you become aware, right? And you're more conscious of your decisions, even if you're going off at a certain point, you're going off and you're consciously deciding to go off. It doesn't just, take you by surprise. I got a bit of an echo, so I stopped.
You're good. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, I think that's what has helped. And then just the desire to not go back. You don't want to be back where you were. That awful feeling of just not loving the skin you're in and not being comfortable and all of that. And so you move and you get out of that, whatever that is.
Do you have a certain thing, person, place, type of thing that seems to be a trigger for you that you have worked on?
Yeah, so for me, I'm an emotional eater. I know no one is like that. Um, but I am more so when I am frustrated or I'm angry or I am upset. I eat my feelings, and that is the times when I tend to feel like F it. And so I have to be super mindful of number one, is it worth it? And if I feel like it's worth it in the end, okay, so then what are we gonna do to counteract? And so that process has to be a part. Yeah. Absolutely.
You're muted, Monica.
So you become the dominant force in your life, like we say, and then you're like, yo, I need to check myself before I wreck myself. Like for real, for real. I don't want old Dawn coming all the way back.
Yeah.
I see that roommate trying to creep in and you check yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, so if you want to, I mean, what I am finding for the folks that I am working with, for myself, what I hear from so many others, if I were to like dwindle it down to three like major things, right? I would say totally revisiting your why. Um, if it's deep enough, if it's passionate enough, if it's near and dear to your heart enough, it's enough to pull you. It's enough to get you tethered back to why you're doing this in the first place and get you back on track. The other thing is getting into structure, not flying by the seat of your pants. Most of us, if we planned ahead, we'd know, man, I've got 2 late nights at work this week. So that means that I'm really going to have to make sure that I have my meals or my fuelings in advance so I'm not doing something crazy. Or I know that I'm going on this trip. I need to get prepared for that. Or I know I've got the kids after school. I've got these dinners coming up. Let me get this stuff together. Or I am horrible at not snacking while I cook dinner. Let me cook this dinner up in between my fuelings, or while I'm having my fourth fueling, so that I make sure that I'm staying on track. It's those little things when you know your triggers and you're planning ahead that can help you avoid some pitfalls. And then I think the third most important thing, and I think the thing that we often take advantage of, is staying connected to your coach, to your Optavia community, to folks who are in the trenches with you. So often when we get upset, we get frustrated, we get whatever, and we get off track, we ghost. We get into our own little corners and we stay in our corners thinking that nobody else is in the trenches. We don't want to hear about anybody else's successes. We don't want to hear about what other people are doing and how much weight they've lost. We kind of stay in our little bubble. And that's the opposite of what we want to do. A magnificent, wonderful coach told us your stuff is not safe with you. It's not. So call your coach. Tell them, this is what's up with me. This is how I'm feeling. I feel like eating this half loaf of sourdough bread and calling it a night. And you got to tell them like, this is where I'm at, so that folks can help pull you out. You've got to be connected to people who care about you, who know your goals and are going to keep you on track. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is super on point. And I love that so much. And so part of being in this community, I can honestly say as well, Dawn, this is where I found my other co-partners besides my coach, right? Because there's even been moments where I resonate with you on something and I have to reach out to you and I'm like, yo, can you meet me here? And that is just so helpful to just have different people and tools to pull from. So I really, really appreciate that so much. One of the things that I saw in the chat that throws people off, two big commons. One is sleep when you're tired. The other one that I saw is surroundings and stress. And I really want to just point out that your surroundings can be stressful. So in essence, they are synonymous. Your people, places, or things provide stress and anxiety. And so stress is also a big player as to why your willpower and your motivation could wane. So I love that our life book shares with us and our habits of health book. You guys, if you've not been in this one, you got to dive into it. When you're trying to figure out how sleep, or if you're just curious how much sleep throws you off, I'm just going to tell you this. It's 50% of your weight loss, your sleep. 50%. Do you want to know how or why? It's in here. So your life book will direct you where to go in here so that you read up on it and you understand. And here's what I know because of this. There's a hormone in your body. It's called leptin. When it is not in its appropriate value, your ability to stay focused is not there. I experienced this yesterday. The night before, I was super excited about going to the Dr. Phil show yesterday. For those of you that don't know, everybody knows Dr. Phil, right? Like, okay. Anyways, I didn't sleep. I was super excited. I had 3 hours of sleep. Can I just tell you that from the moment I woke up and got to the Dr. Phil green room, I ate the donuts. I put the creamer in the coffee. I had their little 100-calorie bars. I don't even know what they were, even though I had my bars. I went to dinner and I actually had tortilla chips, which, guys, on a normal day when I'm well rested, I wouldn't have done any of that. You know why? Again, why? To Dawn's point. You know why? Because this coming weekend, I have an event I wanted to be super on point for. So like I had a reason. And because of my sleep being off and my hormones being off, my motivation, willpower being thrown off, I did a lot of things that I wouldn't ordinarily. So do you see what this says here? What do you expect after deviation? This is what you can expect. You're useless for the day after. Usually up to 3 days. Coach Mel B, how do you feel after a day at the desert and having a couple cocktails? How does that feel the day after?
I can barely get out of bed for the alarm, and I'm usually popping right out, and I'm just like, I can't get enough coffee because I'm just dragging butt all day long, because that's how I used to feel before our program. And it's a reminder of, oh, I don't want to feel like that. That sucks. I would rather pop out of bed and have energy and be structured throughout my day so I can do other stuff at night, because I used to give everything I had to my job and my family would get my leftovers. But on this program, learning how to structure my eating and what I was eating and everything and staying on track gave me more energy to spend with my family when I got home, instead of like, give me like an hour because I'm so tired and I'm just exhausted. And then basically got like an hour with them and then I got to go to bed and do it all again. So yeah, tired.
Yeah. And you guys, when you're in that type of momentum where Monday night you had a hard day at work, so there's wine after work, and Tuesday it's Taco Tuesday, so why not have the nachos and carne asada fries and tacos? And Wednesday it's, we want spaghetti night, so we're gonna load up on carbohydrates Wednesday. And Thursday we might have leftovers, so it's a mixture of all of that. Never in there did you do any sort of an elimination or detox where you had something lean, green, focused on water, slept well. Like, we just go through the motions. And a lot of times we don't realize that we actually are feeling bad because we feel okay, because bad is our normal. So it takes a moment to reset, pull yourself out. And like Dawn, she's lost over 70 pounds at this point.
Not yet, but over 60, yes.
Over 60, yeah. So listen, guys, that takes an extreme amount of focus and dedication and mindset for a certain amount of time while she creates that deficit. All right. So we are not saying don't ever want to have a drink, don't ever go off your program, or we're not saying that. What we are saying though is, number one, create the deficit you want. You need to lose 20 pounds. On this plan, it's 8 weeks away. I believe you can focus for 8 weeks. You want to lose 30 pounds? It's 12 weeks away. You are 90 days away from being 30 pounds lighter, which for some folks is decades from a weight they've seen. It's been decades since they've seen that weight. So if you've gone off track on Labor Day, over the summer, things like that, now is the time to reset. We got holidays coming up. I don't know if you know, but the average person gains 10 to 15 pounds during the holiday season. So if we don't do some reset and backtrack now, you can plan to add on top to what you've already got cushioned on you. And that's not what we do here because we plan ahead. All right, so this week we're getting back on track. Maybe you're going to start on Monday. Maybe you started last week and you're feeling some sort of ways. I want you to know that's normal. When you come back on track, you will be irritable, especially if you've deviated from with fast foods, fried foods, frozen foods, processed foods, salt, sodium-filled foods, MSG-filled foods. Plan to feel like crap coming back. What does that mean? Irritable, restless, headache, angry, intense cravings, and not being able to focus. If you would like to read more up on that, please go to your Lifebook Element 16, and you can find out all about addictive food and what it's doing to you and why you're feeling that way. You can also go to page 322 in your Lifebook and take a susceptibility quiz, guys. Dr. A thought of everything. There's all kinds of different things in there, and it gives you the ability to ask yourself, is this your trigger? Is this going to set you off? Does this throw you off, so that you know? And then you can decide which one you want to have a mini funeral with and work on. Page 322. That is super helpful. This week that you are trying to come back, what can you do to help yourself? I would say number one, be open and honest with everyone around you, or be willing to just be like, you know what? That's not in alignment with what I'm trying to do right now. No, thank you. I'm challenging myself. No, thank you. If you can't do that, don't want to do that, if it's easier to reschedule events, I believe that that's okay. Meaning, if you can't go to bowling night for the next month, because you got to focus on Wednesdays. It's only 4 weeks. Bowling league's not going away. Your health is right now. Just a suggestion, right? You might have to reschedule some events. Look ahead to stay diligent. Remember, you guys, you on the average will be losing 10 to 12 pounds when you're in your process of trying to create deficit in your body weight. 10 to 12 pounds a month. Can you focus for the next 4 weeks to lose those 10 pounds that you've been holding on to for 10 years? 4 weeks, 30 days, 10 pounds that you've been holding on to for 10 years. So ask yourself these things and talk to yourself and look ahead at what it really is. 20 pounds is 60 days, 8 weeks. 60 days, 8 weeks, 20 pounds. I haven't seen that in 20 years. Remind yourself. I have a Brandy's on this line. She has a client right now who gave us the most wonderful suggestion of setting alarms with affirmations on her phone. So every 2 hours that you remind yourself to eat, hers also says, "You're amazing, girl. You got this." 2.5 hours later, "Girl, keep it up. You're doing great." Third alarm comes up, you're going to be thanking yourself at the end of this week. Fourth alarm, your man is going to be so happy. So alarms to eat, to stay on track, affirmations attached. We call this habit stacking. You add one positive thing on top of a positive thing you're doing to reinforce it for yourself. This is just an example. You all are super smart. I'm sure you can come up with your own. ways of habit stacking. But just know, coming back on track, you guys, it is not going to be comfortable. And it's not your fault. It's because of the chemicals. It's because of the hormones. The good news is it is just a 4-day process max. So a lot of times I recommend just put yourself to sleep. Rosalind, you can't hang, girl, go to bed. Just go take a nap. Go take a nap, come back, you'll be just fine. You know, and this goes for everyone. It's a quick way to reset. Anybody want to share something that has been throwing them off continually, who maybe wants to ask for some suggestions or some help? Or anybody that wants to help offer hope? You could just take yourself off mute.
Well, I just want to say that this is awesome. Thank you. I'm going to pass on my drinks. I'm at the pool. And I wasn't planning ahead. So I appreciate this group. Y'all saved me before the weekend. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Enoch, for your testimony. We appreciate you so much. Passing on your drink. See? It's possible. You get in here, you get all filled up, and you're like, yo, I don't want to do that after all. Audrey, are you off mute? Are you going to share? I thought I saw you off mute. You wanted to
I'd
talk.
like to share something.
Sure.
Okay, so going on the drinks thing, because the drinks can be, you know, we're coming up on holidays and everything. So set yourself a really good water goal, like a gallon or 100 ounces. And don't deviate to anything else until you hit that water goal. Because that can be a lot of water to drink. And if you can drink all of that water, then maybe, just maybe, you will talk yourself out of the drinks, because you'll be you'll be floating if you drink a gallon of water and you won't have room for anything else. Or if you do end up having a drink, you won't have a bunch, because again, you'll be floating.
Yes. And guys, a pro tip or just a fun fact, and you probably know this, again, this is in your Habits of Health book. When you ingest alcohol, your liver has to stop fat burning because it identifies the alcohol as poison. So it immediately goes into storage mode of your food and starts to work to process the alcohol and weed that out. So how many times have you had a drink and before you know it, you're on to tacos? Those tacos are going straight to storage because your liver is not in a capacity to process that until that alcohol is out of your body. Now, here's the other awful news that you need to know. Did you know that over 2 drinks can take up to 3 days for your liver to process? So some of you who have drinks on Friday and Saturday and are feeling bloated on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's real, because your liver still has not caught up yet. If you had over 2 drinks, that really waned on my decisions. If I was going to have more than 2 drinks, what I was going to eat after drinking when I decided to drink, right? So add this information to your arsenal. We are adults. We are the dominant force in our lives. And we can make decisions. We can go ham and throw our plan out the window. We can go 50-50 this weekend. You can make some really good choices. You can enjoy things, but stick to your 4-bite rule. That's 50-50. Or you can stay 100% on your plan. You got 3 choices this weekend. None of them are wrong. None of them are completely right. They're just a choice. And you get to decide. So remember this weekend, no person, place, or thing can throw you off and win. And if you need something, go to your life book, rewatch this video, find a podcast, remind yourself of what you're working for, call your coach, call your friends, do something, but not deviate on your goals. You got that? Next week, want to hear what you took away from this, what you put to work, how you won. Invite your friends. We'll put the replay in our group. And we thank you so much for being here. Dawn, thank you so much for being my amazing co-host tonight. everyone, we hope that this was helpful. Isabel, I see you. Nice to see you here, girl. And for everyone who wants to hang out this weekend, if you're in the Los Angeles area, we'll be going south to like San Diego area, having an amazing, huge barbecue potluck. It's going to be at our mentor's mansion. Tons of lean and greens. You all are invited. Starts at 11 o'clock this Saturday. Okay. So if you're not coming with me, please come to meet me. All right. We'll see you guys there and we'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.